Okay, so for this last problem here, it's creating a two-point perspective of the object represented by the following orthographic. So I only did one of these because I really don't like two-point perspective sketching. I don't think it's a whole lot of value added, but I do need to teach it. So we'll just do this one together, but please do it and make sure you get it turned in. Um, so on a two-point perspective sketch, remember I've got two vanishing points. And so if this is my object in here, this side lengths here are going to be represented by one vanishing point line, construction line going off to a vanishing point, and these lines vertically or horizontally, excuse me, are going to go off to another vanishing point. And then the vertical lines, remember, are always going to be parallel to each other going straight up and down. So I took the trouble of going ahead and drawing in a horizon line and adding two vanishing points in already. And then I took out my blow up that I used, and I went ahead and measured all of this with centimeters so that you guys don't have to. And I did it off camera to save a little bit of time. And so basically, I used centimeters. This is about 2 centimeters long, and I just doubled it. So everything was doubled. So this is about 4 centimeters. This is 4.5. I'm sorry, four units on my grid line. This is 4.5, 1.5. So the total is 6 here. 4 high, and then these go 2, and then these are they're going to be, looks like they're 3 and 3. I did not measure this one earlier, so we'll go. You can see where that's at 1.5 centimeters. So this is going to be 3 to here, and then this, of course, since its total is 6, this is going to be 3. So that gives you an idea what we're doing. Now, I went ahead and drew in this construction line going to these two vanishing points just to kind of start a glass box concept. Although I'm not going to draw in a full glass box here. It's kind of hard to do using these two-point perspectives anyway. But what I wanted to do was show you, if I look at my top view, because that's the one that shows my horizontal and depth, my if I was to project this out to like a glass box on the side here, you can see where this goes off to one vanishing point to here. There's nothing in this object, and I would go off this way towards this vanishing point. And so there's nothing here in here, but I'm still going to glass box it in to see how it orients. And you can see if I kind of lay it on my sheet here, you'll see where this goes off to this vanishing point, and this is going to go off to this vanishing point. So hopefully that'll help you frame it in your head, kind of where we're going with this thing. So this point right here is this one that I drew in. Even though, like I said, it doesn't go to a particular part of my object. That's why I drew it lightly as a construction line. So having done that, I know that this object here from this view is 2 boxes deep. And so I'm going to go ahead and use this point because this is the only point where my verticals are going to be perfect, is I'm going to go up 2. So I'm going to go 1, 2, just do a construction line straight up, and I'm going to draw the lines to my vanishing points. And in a lot of ways, two-point perspectives, once you get your head around visualizing them, they're actually kind of easier to draw. You don't have to do quite so much counting. There's a little bit more estimating. And again, just like in the single point perspective, there's a little bit of art involved in it. And my ruler does not want to move. Okay, so that is a classic starting point for a two-point perspective sketch. You'll see this little V shape here that's very common to see that. Okay, so this, just to put this in mind, is this line right here is going to run along this vanishing point to this vanishing point. So it's going to run along this construction line here. And then this line right in here, yeah, I can see that is going to do the same. It's going to go along this line here. And the same, just as this depth line here is going to be running along this vanishing point, but it's not going to start till down here somewhere. So I think that this is probably the best place for me to start, is with this line here. And if I project on, and you can see what this is, this part right here is this part right there. And so all of this is empty, but that's what, on my side view, I would see this line, this wall. And so that's what it looks like, a little rectangle right there. So I'm going to start with this line Sorry if I've obscured it so much scribbling on it, which is this point right here. So if I started over and I went this way, I start here, I'm going to go this way, kind of, and what did I say? That's going to be about 1.5. So I'd say right about there. Let's do that as my point. And again, depth you estimate. So I can use my smaller ruler. I like it a little better. And I'm going to go straight up. My verticals are always parallel, so I'm going to go straight up. Just follow my grid lines. I'm going to keep things in construction mode at this point. You can see where those points are. So now I'm starting along this length right here. And that goes all the way to the back, so I can figure out how deep that is. And I said that's going to be 4.5 deep. So if this is 1.5, this is going to be 3 times as deep. We'll go to right about here, and we're estimating. So I can kind of darken that in a little darker because I know that's going to be an object line, except for, of course, here. This is why I didn't. So I have that depth, and let's go ahead and we're going to go vertical from here up until I've already got, that's why I have this construction line. It is going to go higher than that, but I don't know how high yet. So let's go ahead and go from here. Just do a light line right now, construction line again. And I can tell this is going to go higher because of this point right here. But I can't just count up 4 because it doesn't work that way. I have to go to a vanishing point. So I've got this side here, and I got this length done. What I need to do next is this one here, and that's going to be, what did we say? This 2 is not this. This is about 1.5. So again, kind of like this is a third of this total length here. So I'm going to pick a spot right about there. And I already have a construction line drawn, so I can go ahead and go that way with it. And now I go up, and I can go straight up with it. And that's going to go up 2. So again, my vertical lines are always going to be kind of the same. And I can go up 2. Maybe a little bit higher. This is what's going to define this top line here. So again, this is kind of where art, and so this part here and this part here should be, look like they're actually equal to each other. So this might not be, it might be about right where we got it. And from here, I'm going to go to my vanishing point. So I picked this, I figured out this height here because it's going to be kind of the same as this. These two heights are the same. So I'm going to go from here to my vanishing point. And now you can see where this line and this line meet. And that is this whole side face right here. So let's go ahead and darken that a little bit just to clarify what's an object line and what's not. And I'll trace over these, as you know, when I start shading and make this look a little neater. So I pretty much have one face done already. Like I said, these go a little easier. Now I got to go do this back line. I think that's an easiest thing to do next because this is just a straight back line. There's nothing to it. It's a long straight line. I look at my views over here. My side view shows me that there's nothing going on. If you look, remember this here is right here. Is this part here? Is this here? So I don't really have anything going on this top part, right? Which, you know, there's a shelf here, obviously, and we can see that. But this back line's solid. So I can draw, let's draw a construction line going all the way from there to the vanishing point. I go to my corner this way. And I can do the same thing from this point. And finally, I could do one from this corner. Anywhere I got a corner, really, I can always draw. And I always draw a construction line. I mean, they're just there to help me out, even if they're wrong. Just don't use it. But that's why we draw them lightly. And then here's another construction line. Okay, so that I think is everything important going that way. So if you look at this drawing here, if this line is this line here, and I'm going to go back, which is this length here, it's going to go along here. And I got to figure out where that is. It's going to go back, if this is going to go 4 deep. And just to put that into perspective, from here to here was 4.5. So I'm going to do something roughly the same. Pick a depth. I think maybe right about here. Looks like a good spot. Again, I'm eyeballing this. So that's going to be the depth. I can go ahead and kind of darken that in a little bit. I already got a construction line here. So I'm going to darken that construction line in a bit. Now keep in mind this corner goes down. So I need to go down here. And that's going to go all the way down till I hit this construction line here. That's going to look a little odd, I think. Let's go ahead and do it and see how it looks. And then I need to do this part. So this was 4, which that's the problem, is I don't think this looks deep enough. I'm going to go a little bit deeper with it. I don't like it. That's okay. I make a mistake. I'm going to go a little bit deeper. Let's call it here. Following that construction line that I already had drawn. Again, I'm going to go straight down. Now I need to do this part here. This line is 2. So if this to here is 4, then this part here to here is 2. It's going to go right about there. So now I'm going to darken this in because this becomes an object line. And I'm going to go straight up until I hit this construction line here. And now I know why this looks off. Okay, I did not draw this construction line in. And that is why this whole thing looks strange. Yep, okay, my bad. What I didn't do, I drew the top part of this line, but I didn't draw the bottom part over here, which you would see if you were to tilt this over. I'm sorry, you can't see that on the camera there. What I drew was this top part here, but I didn't draw the bottom part of the rectangle that you would see looking this way. And that's this line here. I drew it all the way to the edge. That's why it was looking so odd. I couldn't quite get my head around it. So this is this front face, or this side view face, I'm sorry, of this part right here. So I drew this construction line going to this vanishing point, and then that makes more sense there. What I need to do now is this comes over one space, and the way to do that is I need to draw a construction line to this vanishing point, because this line right here, remember all of these side horizontal, which would be horizontal otherwise, are going to go to the vanishing point. So here and here. So this point here is going to go this way, right? And so now what I know I can do, I come this way to the edge of my glass box, and that's where this comes out to this construction line that I drew from my glass box point. And I'm going to go, now this was 4, so I'm going to go deep 2. This makes a lot more sense. And I have a vertical line here, which I determine the height by, remember, if this is my edge, I'm going to go ahead and do a construction line to this vanishing point. And I'm going to go from this edge straight up until I hit the vanishing point. I hope I didn't mess you guys all up with this. But there you go. Now it makes more sense to me. Darken that in there, again along the construction line. And now you can see this face and this part, remember from orienting this way, I've got this face here is this face, and I've got this little part right here is right here. Now I got to do this part right here, which is I've already got started. Again, I go vertical. This is a mistake, so we'll erase that. And I'm going to go vertical from here to this construction line from this point that I already have drawn in. And let's darken that in. All right, so I have this construction line here drawn in, and because I have this shelf here, and it runs all the length of this object. And again, I can see that from the side view. There's nothing breaking it up. So looking top down, this goes all the way to the end, and it merges up with this part right here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw one more construction line. There's a lot of them going all the way there. And I can draw this line now from here till it hits this construction line right there. This is my spot. Connect the dots. Darken this one in a little bit. Now you can see it a little better. And this top shelf, again, goes all the way to the same vanishing point. So I've already got a construction line there. Why are we looking odd again? Because I go vertical here to the vanishing point. And so this is going to go all the way to there. There we are. And I go from this point to this vanishing point here. And now we can identify the top face. I already had that construction line there, so now I know where it ends. I think that's all the dimensions of my object. So, and I know that was a little confusing. I'm sorry I kind of got lost in this part right in here, but hopefully we made that up and we can start shading it, kind of give it some tone. Again, we'll start with this face, make it the dark face. I'll clean it up when as I shade. I'll clean up my lines, thicken them up, and it'll kind of help visualize this as I get rid of these construction lines. So this side here is my side face. So I'm going to do these a little lighter. And I'm, in the interest of time, I'm going to try to do this just quick and dirty. And this one's darker. Okay, so I tone this up, clean it up a little bit. And there you go. That is a 2-point perspective sketch. Feel free to go ahead and fast forward from this point. I'm just going to trace over my lines to make them look a little better. And let me know if you guys have any questions on these things. There you go. Looks a lot better once I've tidied it up. Again, just let your tools do the work. It'll come together.